Today I have the opportunity to talk with the corporate team and franchisees of Travelin Tom's Coffee. First, I have Tony Lamb, who is the CEO of Kona Ice and Travelin Tom's Coffee. And I want to start with just a little bit story about Kona Ice because they have been around since 2007. They are the largest mobile franchise with more than 1,900 franchisee-owned trucks in 49 states and Canada. Very large footprint. They've also been a longtime FBR client and award winner, so we will talk about that as well. But the reason I wanted to bring that up is because Tony has launched the second brand, Travelin Tom's Coffee Truck, in 2020, and the system already has over 150 franchised trucks currently on the road. He built this brand by offering it as an additional opportunity to Kona Ice franchisees. So that's why it has grown so quickly. And we want to talk today just about the model and talk about what it's like to be part of the Travelin Tom's Coffee Truck system. So going back, Kona Ice has been consistently ranked number 1 or number 2 based on franchisee satisfaction from our organization over the last 12 years. They have also been recognized in Entrepreneur Magazine's Franchise 500. And I think why I wanted to prep that with the Kona Ice is because they have been so successful at creating a system where the franchisees have great relationships with the franchisor. And we're talking to franchisees that have been in the Kona Ice system that have launched this second. So we have a lot of good experience here as well. So that's kind of Tony and his background, and we'll get more into that. Today, for franchisees, we have Tim Valiant, a franchisee with Kona Ice since 2012 and became one of the first Travelin Tom's franchisees in 2021. He owns 7 Kona Ice trucks and 3 Travelin Tom's trucks. We have Russ O'Rear and his wife Amber started with Kona Ice back in 2019, and they currently have 3 territories. They joined Tom's in 2021, and they hired their daughter Emma Atkins, who's on the call with us today, in April of 2022 to be the general manager. And her husband has also come into the business as operations manager. So we have lots of people here to share their experience on running the business. Thank you guys all for joining us today to talk a little bit about Travelin Tom's.
Excited to be here.
Yeah. So I want to start with you guys just did your first survey out to your franchise owners within Travelin Tom's and some of the highlights that came back. First, you made your first awards list with our top franchises in the food sector. So congratulations on that. That covers food and beverage. But 96% of the franchisees agree that their fellow franchisees are supportive of the brand. 96% of franchisees believe that senior management acts with a high level of honesty and integrity. And 96% of franchisees agree that they trust their franchisor. So we are talking about a very strong culture here, a good community. So I want to just start with you, Tony. Tell us why you decided to launch Travelin Tom's. Why did you create this second brand?
First of all, I want to know who the 4% are that don't think that we operate with a high level of integrity. That's all I can focus on now.
Okay, that's right.
I'm obsessive. We started Tom's in the throes of COVID, as when COVID hit, a large segment of our corporate staff was unhinged, so to speak, on their responsibilities. So because we didn't have that many responsibilities when COVID hit, we're 95% event based, and all the events went away in a matter of about 2 weeks. So I looked at a large portion of the staff. I said, hey, okay, let's work on coffee. We've been talking about it for years. I've got artist renditions and all kinds of conceptual stuff. Let's go to work. And Michelle, from March of 2020, and then by October of 2020, we had prototypes rolling out onto the streets, which I still am blown away by that. Now, what that does for Kona franchisees, especially in the North who have a shorter season, is it gives them the opportunity to be a year-round business. And so that was maybe one of the early goals. Another one of the goals was it allows us to broaden our demographic, our customer reach. Shaved ice is consumed by basically anybody that wants to be. But however, coffee and the other beverages on the truck, the iced teas, the lemonades, the energy drinks, the refreshers, all those different things cover I don't know, 92% of the people that drink beverages out there. So the customer base is much broader, much wider. The opportunity base for the franchisee is greater. And it allowed us to take the learnings that we had and move into the next brand. So that was really the impetus. But certainly the initiator was COVID.
Okay, awesome. So Tim, I want to start with you as far as, so you've been part of Kona and Tony says we've got a new brand, a new opportunity. Why did you decide to move forward with Travelin Tom's? What really excited you about the opportunity?
Well, by this time I'd been a Kona franchisee for almost 10 years, and I'd seen, basically the brand grow from nothing to a household name and a first-class brand. It's like, well, we have all of the same ingredients here for success. We're just putting on a different brand and selling a different product. We can do this again. It's going to probably even be bigger than Kona. So to me, it was a no-brainer.
So, you say it's a no-brainer because you have that history of Kona, but thinking about even going back to your Kona days, when you start that new business, what was that initial training or onboarding like with the coffee truck? How was it different, or was it easy? Was it harder? What was that, just onboarding that when you already had another brand?
One, we were already familiar with the type of vehicle, so that was easy. We didn't have to learn, about driving a large profile vehicle or food truck type vehicle. It was simply just, okay, we've got different product and different equipment that we're going to sell. So, the training is learning about how to make the drinks. I was not a coffee drinker. I still don't drink coffee. So I had to learn a lot in a short amount of time. But the training was there and the equipment was there, and it's fairly simple. One of the benefits of being part of the franchise system is they've got it figured out for you. So that made it easy. And again, that's also why it was a no-brainer.
Awesome. So Russ, how about you? Anything different from what Tim said as far as why you decided to be one of the first to move forward with Travelin Tom's?
Pretty much the same, just a great opportunity, obviously, and just seeing on the Kona side the amount of support and that corporate gives. And one thing I've always admired about Tony is he kind of does a lot of the research up front on his own dime before he has people commit, and so I mean, it's just that success on the Kona side is really what, and the support that I received through corporate and just the culture that company has is really what was a catalyst for me in doing it.
Awesome. So just the culture of the organization. Tony, I'm going to go to you then. Is it the same support team from Kona Ice that's supporting the Travelin Tom's franchisees? And when you decided to create this new brand, did you change anything about the initial training or how you thought about the products that were on the truck? Or what does that initial training look like for a franchisee that does onboard with you?
Okay, two parts. Is it the same team? Is it the same level of enthusiasm? I actually, and Michelle, I'll confess this. I think once a brand gets into a very good path, and that's where Kona is, and we could do this. And I remember in 2015, 16, 17, 18, we had a well-oiled machine. And the coffee or the Kona colleges that would come into town, they show up. We have a dinner. We go through the trainings. Everyone contributes. All these different things happen, and it's a well-oiled machine. What happens when you bring on another brand is you're taking some of your best people out of that and asking them to completely recalibrate and rethink it. So it's a fresh start, but it's also extremely motivating because these people now look at it with fresh eyes. They look at it, especially like, if you can ever, Russ has come in and helped us as a coach in our coffee academies. Now he's got all this experience. That's the way Tim and I's relationship started with Kona, was he would come in and help coach college, Kona College. And so these are where this freshness, this newness, this, hey, we got to do this right. And it's not just old think, or it's not, you know, I don't want to say anything derogatory about Kona because it's a well-oiled machine, but I love shaking it up and having to really go hard and figure things out. And then when you have a coffee academy, as we call it, then you follow up with those people and you reach back out and you have these one-on-one conversations about how to make the college or the academy better the next time. It's a fresh overlay on everything. And I love that because we're taking some of our best people, our best assets, moving it into this brand and allowing other people in the company to kind of come up into the Kona brand. So I don't think Kona loses a step, but I think coffee's got this amazing advantage that the people that are coming on. What was the second part of your question?
No, that was it. Just kind of, is it the same team supporting these franchisees, but also what does it look like to onboard them? So you talked about the Coffee Academy. I'm assuming, is that something that they're doing online or are they doing that in person?
No, it's always in person. It's part of it's a total turnkey. And it's the way we did with Kona. It's we fly you in, we put you in a hotel, we shuttle you back and forth to our campus. All the staff is involved in some way, shape, or form on training you. We go through 3.5 days of training. You know, all the way down to driving the truck, all the way down to making every beverage, looking at the truck. We have ongoing training beyond that. We call it KEV Cert and BEV Cert. So the KEV is a Kona entertainment vehicle. The BEV is a beverage entertainment vehicle. By the way, my mother's name is Beverly, so I didn't hate that. But we also do BEV Cert and KEV Cert. That's where franchisees come back and learn a lot of the mechanical parts of the trucks. And we have a huge response to that. And we do both of those now. The coffee truck is a little bit more complicated than a Kona truck because of the workings of it. But that ongoing training and all that process is just, you know, not rubber stamped. I don't want it to sound like it's not well thought out, but it's just the formula, the template is there.
Okay, awesome. So Emma, let's go to you. What were you doing before you decided to go work for your parents and help with the Travelin Tom's business?
So I was in physical therapy. I worked at a skilled nursing facility treating patients who were there for short-term or long-term care. And I was pregnant with my first daughter, Charlie. And when I had her, I wasn't sure that I really wanted to go back and send her to daycare. You know, I just wanted to spend time with her too. And so dad came to me and basically asked, you know, do you want to work for us full time? You know, we could use the help with Tom's, you know, starting a new business. It's just, it was different. It was harder. And so I said, sure. And my stepmom, dad's wife, Amber, she keeps both of my girls still now. And so they stay here with us. And I just kind of hit the ground rolling with dad. It was fun, of course, to train under dad, and he's very particular. So
Well, so that's good. So it's giving you the flexibility for your family. And then the idea we talked a little bit about before hitting record, the idea is hopefully this business will become yours. Right, Russ?
That's correct.
Yeah, so a little sweat equity. So I love this, and I want to talk about this because I think there's two things that I want to talk about is the number of employees it really takes to run this business. From the business side and from the truck side, I'd love to go to Tim and Russ and talk about that. But first and foremost, I think that franchise opportunities or franchise businesses offer a great opportunity to think about that next generation, to create that generational wealth or that opportunity. And so I think as we look at ways to really grow our organizations and we look at that next truck or we look at how we need more locations, how you staff that and have the dedication that your family would have, I think is really genius. But I just love that, seeing that we have that next generation kind of lined up to do this. So Russ, I'll start with you. Number of employees that you're managing across all your businesses, just in general, to give people a sense of as you grow with these trucks, what are you looking at from the people side? And then how many people did you start with? And then how did you recognize that you needed to pull Emma in or have more support to run your business?
We have currently in the upper 20s, fluctuate a little bit because we have some college kids that go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
But we have in the upper 20s, we have about 5 full-time people that work for us, you know, 35 to 45 hours a week. When I initially got into Kona, I was kind of the mindset, I'm not hiring anybody else. I'm going to keep all the money for myself. I want it done like I want to do it. I'm kind of a little bit of a control freak. So, but I remember coming to our Kona College and a coach that was there actually during a break, I leaned back and said, so give me your best piece of advice. And he said, hire somebody when you get home, so you can work on your business and not, for your business. And so that's what we did. I ended up hiring, my first employee was a girl that manages with us now. We brought her on a salary. And then my second one was Emma's husband. He wasn't her husband at the time, Bryant, and he is our operations manager. So those two have been with me from the beginning. And then as I was growing, we come back for some more education that corporate provides in a master's class. And I had an opportunity to talk to somebody that was there that's a larger franchisee. And, I just basically said, hey, I'm at this crossroads. I kind of really don't want to turn over the keys to these vehicles to people that, I don't really know that well, but I want to grow. And he basically said, here's my phone number. Call me when you have issues, but you need to go hire some people, so,
Yeah.
so that's what I did. So, it takes a lot. We're still trying to grow our team. It's not quite as big as I wish we had it because, I need my managers. I need them in the office, building a book of business. And we can hire people to carry it out like we want to, so that's still what we're after. We're still trying to grow.
Awesome. So Tim, if you have anything to add as far as that on the team side and the managing and the growth, but I think that's important for candidates to think about how they're going to grow their business. I'd love for you to add to that. But then I want to talk about what is your day-to-day as far as being the franchise owner in the business. What are you spending your time on to help make this business successful?
Yeah. So first, as far as the team goes, I mean, it's a blessing to be able to provide career paths for people who want to work full time, and it's also a blessing to be able to provide part-time jobs. We're a bit seasonal in terms of the Kona side. On the Tom side, there's less seasonality, but we're able to provide good opportunities. And if we were always the ones in the truck, we would never have more than one truck because we can only be in one place at a time. But we would never have to grow the business. Back in 2007, if Tony Lamb never got out of a Kona truck, none of us would be here today, right? And that's what we got to keep in mind and it's fun to be in a truck. I love being in a truck. I could have a bad day, I could break my leg, I could have a headache, whatever. I get in a truck, it seems all that stuff goes away. So it's from a team building thing, it's just great to have a wonderful bench of people and to provide opportunities. The second part of your question, day to day, my focus is on supporting my leadership team. So we have an operations manager and then I have an event specialist, and they do the bulk of the work. My job is to help them and set them up for success, making sure they have all the tools they need, all the support that they need. If they need additional training, if they need additional coaching, I want to make sure that they are succeeding in what they're doing. The operations manager will, and they work together as a team, the operations person and the event manager. But, are they in a good position to where they can train new people? What if our training needs tweaked? We're always analyzing everything. I do tend to overthink things once in a while, but everything, every time we train an employee, we make an adjustment to our training program. It's like, oh, we need to add this, we need to change this. Or if some of the software that we use that Kona's developed, that continually gets updated. So then it becomes a communication piece. Are we communicating to our team? Is my leadership team communicating to all the employees? We spend a lot of time, I'm just supporting them. How do we get more business? How do we build our team up stronger? How do we find more people? Because the challenge isn't the demand for the product. The challenge is how do we find enough people so we can have enough equipment, because the demand is certainly there, particularly on the Tom side. Like Tony said at the beginning, 90% of the people drink something that we offer, and they drink it 5 or 6 days a week or 7 days a week. The market is huge for this. We're just looking always to find more people to the team.
Yeah.
Long answer day to day, but that's what it looks like.
Yeah, no, that's great. So Tony, tell me, so what are you looking for in people that want to join the franchise system? I know you're just now opening this up past Kona Ice franchisees. So Tim said he doesn't drink coffee, so they don't need to drink coffee. What kind of experience are you looking for? And can they start just by themselves? Do they need employees right away to start?
We're very excited to have people come in from the outside because of the fact I have a very, very good memory. I remember those early days when Tim came on and Russ came in, and we have 800 franchisees representing 1,900 franchises, but they had that hunger, that nervous, that excited nervousness where they get started. And they would go hard in the paint, as we always say. And I can't say a lot of my Kona franchisees have. However, they're not maybe as used to getting in that truck, rolling their sleeves up and making sure that thing is monetizing. So, and I've said this to them, so I'm not talking out of school. I've said it to my franchisees. If you don't have the hunger, if you don't have the want, if you don't have the drive or the desire, and you can't figure out how to get it, you better go hire it, and you better hire it quick, because that's what it takes to start a business. And I have no doubt in my mind that brand new people, we just had this discussion, brand new people coming in from the outside will have all those qualities. The qualities I look for is somebody that's community minded, someone that's even family minded, that have a team atmosphere. I'm not a big investor type a franchisor. I don't love the guys that come in and they want to buy South Florida and they want to develop a system and a process. I'd rather build this thing with what we built Kona with, which was just one at a time, great people coming in and then growing. I mean, if Tim wanted to come in and buy 10 trucks, I wouldn't have sold 10 trucks. But he obviously owns 10 now because he and I now know that we can work together. Russ is the same way, and the other 800 franchisees are the same way. So it is what we're looking for is strong character, really community minded, because I think the trucks are so out in the community. They have to think that way. They have to be, where can we get this to make the community better, things like that. But I do, just for the record, Emma, we orchestrated this whole thing so we could get Russ on the record saying he will turn it over to you. And I did want to know from Russ if Bryant had to marry Emma to keep his job. I don't know if that was any of that play in there, but I'm fascinated by both of those questions.
Well, Derek always asked me, Jake, I think your son asked me, he said, hey, tell me how the dynamics work with Emma and Bryant down there. I said, well, they don't work together. I keep them apart. So
that keeps everyone happy.
Well,
yeah,
Michelle,
right.
just so you know, I've got almost all my entire family is in Kona at the corporate level and at the franchise level, because my youngest son, is running our local ops, and he's 23. And my oldest son, who's 30, runs our truck support department, which supports 2,800 pieces of equipment out there, and he does a phenomenal job. My daughter married the head of design, and my other daughter just quit on me, but she because she's got a better gig somewhere else. But she's been in our video editor, but she just got a big fancy contract that she travels all over the country with a superstar now. So she's dead to me as a family member, but. I'm so happy for her. I can't stand it. But no, you were talking about that family part of it, and man, if you get the blessing and the treasure of working with family in a way that lifts them up and educates them, I don't think there's anything better in the world for that, really.
Yeah. So Emma, I'm going to go to you because you're in the business. Tell me what it's like. How are you getting Travelin Toms into the community? What kinds of things are you attending, or how do you build your brand?
Yeah, so we started off, it was really simple, I guess, to piggyback some events with Tom's with Kona starting off, just because Kona is already out there. You already had the events booked for Kona, so it was easy to feel like, hey, we have a new coffee truck. Corporate provided signs that went on all of our Kona units that said, ask about our coffee truck. So it also kind of sparked the conversation from a lot of people there as well, just asking about it. And then really although we kind of piggybacked some events at first, it kind of took off on its own and went its own direction. So they complement each other, but they're not really the same. So we may go to some festivals that Kona is at, but if you look at the two lines, they're completely different. Kona is all kids and coffee is adults. So when you typically look at it, it is different. So it's really fun to go to an event and see all the kids so excited about the Kona truck there. And then, you turn to your left and all the adults are excited now because now a coffee truck's here. And, now corporate has developed so many new products that it's not just coffee. It truly is a beverage truck that can go year round with all the cold drinks too. So, we kind of just dove in to a bunch of things. We knew since it was targeted more so to adults that we would have to kind of shift our way of thinking, because if you go into it kind of Kona minded, it might not work great, because what school's going to let you come serve lattes to third graders? Like, it doesn't work. So we had to completely kind of shift our thinking and start from scratch with it. And so we targeted a lot of corporate businesses. We went online, we drove around in our zip codes. We were on our phones and our notes, typing out all the places that were in our zip codes. We were sending emails out, corporate has postcards that you are even able to send out to businesses in your area. You just had to be willing to really try anything at first. It's not just, oh, they're not booking a package, so, we're not going to go. You have to pretty much be willing to try. And for us, it was a lot of keeping just data on everything. We have 1,000,005 sheets. Every year I categorize every event that we do. So I categorize them by route stops versus packages versus schools versus community events, athletics, all of that. So every single event that we have goes into one of those categories, and they're all divided by zip code. So, one of the hardest things is the weekdays to get it out, and Sundays are sometimes difficult, but you can target churches. So, there's different things that you kind of have to look at. Every area is different, but I think that just kind of hitting the ground running and just trying everything that you could kind of kickstarted it up for us. And it just seems like it's just growing more and more popular. We have 2 new franchise neighbors now, and so it's really popular in our area. And I wore my Tom shirt to a doctor's office one day, and they knew who it was, and I was wearing my shirt at the doctor. So I think it's just getting out there and just trying different things, and I think it's going to work really well.
Yeah. So you got to be active in your community is what I'm getting, is that you're not, this is not just a business. These are places you attend, people and you're really just trying to build that marketing. So 91% of franchisees enjoy operating the business, according to the survey. I know that Tony's going to go after that other 9%, and 92% of the and 92% of the franchisees would recommend the brand to others. So I think what I'd like to do is, Tim, go to you and just talk about, how do you use the franchise community, the franchisees in your network, to help you when you have challenges or to help you grow your business? How are you tapping into that?
We all want the same thing. We all want to run successful businesses and making a difference in our community. And when we start with that, then the conversations become easier. When you have an idea that works, you can bounce it off of someone. When you try something that works, you can bounce it off of someone. Or likewise, if you are stuck and you're like, hey, I need some help. I tried this, I tried this. None of these things work. You can go to the franchise body and ask for some help or ask for some ideas. And they're going to help you. That's the benefit of having a good team around you of franchisees. Anything that we want to do, we will communicate with each other. And if I do an event and it is off the charts, I'll kind of want to share that with the other franchisees. Hey, go try these events or this types of events, because again, we all want the same thing.
Right. Yeah, that's great. And Russ, I heard Tony said that you have, I think he mentioned that you've mentored newer people coming in. How are you connecting with your franchise community? Are you in person with them? Do you get the chance to see them a lot? Is it mostly through virtual, or how are you talking and building those relationships with your franchisees?
Just a little bit of all of it. We have an opportunity, obviously, at our annual convention, to be face to face with other franchisees and learn what they're doing. And I just think it's just a great community. When we first started, and we were trying to get the brand, launched, I think it was like the first 16 trucks after the year of prototypes. We had a call every week for a year. And Tony himself, he was on those calls. And so that's a big commitment from corporate, to make sure that, hey, we're going to share what's working, what's not working, so we can build this thing the right way. And, I think they've done a phenomenal job of that. But just the community as a whole is great. If I'm struggling on booking something on Mondays, I can pick up the phone and call somebody. I know Emma, she has a network of her 3 or 4 little buddies that are all managing different operations, and they talk every day. From local, one of them's here at local ops, and then there's several other ones across the nation that they're together and just have their own little community. I just think that's great, because like Tim said, we all want everybody to be successful, because in the end, the brand's successful, and that only helps us, as well. So
yeah. Well, and just having Emma talk about having neighboring franchisees, you don't see that in every system. Sometimes there is a territorial kind of like, if they're here, I can't get that business. But it really is that idea of you guys are building a brand together.
Mm-hmm.
As you continue to grow this, you're going to get the best return on your investment when your daughter wants to buy it from you.
that's right.
Tony, so your franchisees have talked about the community. How are you fostering that community environment? And Emma mentioned you do postcards. How are you also supporting their efforts getting into their communities and building awareness about the brand?
Yeah, I can't stress that enough as far as the digital and social and all the assets that we create. I was at a photo shoot last Friday doing with the director of photography, food stylist and everything, doing all the photo shoots to create assets that we can give them for their monitors on the side of the trucks, for their digital and social pages, things like this, as well as the e-blast. So we continue to develop tools that market into their space for them, help them with their database. We have this great software that we've created years ago in Kona that we just continue to modify. As a matter of fact, today we just had a huge rollout of upgrades. But it keeps all of your events, all of your event details all together, and then your staffing, everything. But all the emails that are collected from the contact points and everything like that, we harvest those every single week and then do an e-blast to all those things. So as you're out there doing your business and you're putting all this information in so you can be organized, we are grabbing those email addresses and sending out, very nicely professional e-blasts that remind them about, hey, you can use Tom's in this way. You can use Tom's in that way. Here's a testimonial of a principal that used Tom's in this way, or a HR director that used it in this way. So that's the continual marketing of it to foster that culture or that togetherness is, and we've always done that. Michelle, it's important that people understand. I never pit people against each other. I don't have the $1 million club where the franchisees that make the $1 million get to look down on the people that aren't making. I don't love that. We don't publish our numbers. The franchisees, my royalty is set. So no one's walking around, sneaking about how much they're making or how much they're doing, because I don't want that to be the competition. I want the competition to be a sharing of ideas and a sharing of knowledge, and then the lifting up of everybody. It's important. You'll have someone reach out that says, hey, I'm struggling with this part of the business. And we can, and before I can even get there, sometimes you'll see a large part of the franchisee body just reach out and help that person. And that's what it's all about. If you can create something that has that culture, that has that community feel to it, then you've got something that's self-sustaining. I get run over by a rogue ice cream truck. This thing still lasts. And that's important, that no matter what we build here, that it's around, so Emma and Brian can still run this business, decades in the future. And it's important that we put those systems and processes and structures and ideas in place, no matter what's going on at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Russ, I'm going to go to you. This is thinking about before you were a franchisee of Kona or Travelin Tom's. What advice would you give to anyone that's interested in becoming a franchise owner? Either something you wish you'd known that you didn't know, or just a piece of advice as they're trying to navigate if Travelin Tom's is right for them.
Well, I think you just got to look at the success that Tony has had with Kona and how he's done things. I mean, it's pretty easy to get behind a company that, you know, invest in the community, invest into their people, you know, do those type things. I mean, just like the set royalty, for example. I mean, you know, he doesn't get a percentage of our sales; he just gets a flat fee. You know, and so that tells you right there that he has the franchisee in mind. You know, and puts them. I know because I've been around when they've talked about things, and you know, one of the first questions he always asks is, you know, how's this going to impact the franchisee? You know, and they try to filter all their decisions through that lens. And I just think the success that has been out there in Kona really will translate over into Tom's, and I think Tom's, you know, has the potential to be as big or bigger, you know, really. And so it's just a great opportunity. We're blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah, I love that that franchisee lens, because I think franchising is so special when it is set up for the franchisor and the franchisee to do this together and to be successful together, and that speaks to it. Tim, how about you? Any advice, anything you wish you'd known or specific to somebody that might be looking at your brand?
Anytime you start a new business, you got to be willing to put in some work.
Mhm.
I think sometimes somebody sees a good idea and be like, oh, you know, I see that the Tom's truck and I see the line of people it has at an event. So I'm going to get a Tom's truck and I'm going to have the same success on day one. What they didn't see is the 80-hour weeks that you took to get to that point. So and this is true with any new business.
Yeah.
This is not, you know, it's not just Tom's, it's any new business. Okay. What's special about Tom's, yes, we've got a beautiful looking truck. It's amazing. We have equipment that is amazing. A lot of people still don't understand this, but we don't have generators on our trucks. We run off batteries. It's unbelievable. We can, you know, a truck can run all day. It's amazing. Okay. But as franchisees, the comment that we get most from the customers, and this has surprised everybody that's gotten into Tom's, is how good the product is. And nobody really saw this coming. Yes, we wanted a decent product. We don't want to serve a bad product, but my goodness, the product is amazing. I remember the first time I handed out an Americano, and again, I don't drink coffee, so I don't know. I can't taste the product and decide if it's good or bad. I just don't have that palate. And I remember handing it out the window. I'm thinking, man, I hope this is a good thing. Yeah. And about 2 or 3 hours later, the same customer came back. He goes, wow, that was so good. I need another. And from that day on, I was like, okay, we've got something special here. So just understanding how good everything fits together. And Russ mentioned it, it's a franchisee first mentality. If it's good for the franchisee, everybody's going to win. And that's the business model set up for the franchisee to succeed. All they got to do is get in and do the work.
Yeah. And I do like to, Tony had said, I'm not looking for someone that just wants to come in and buy a market and think that there's not involvement. Even when you're not driving the truck, you all sound involved in your business, that you are kind of focused on that growth and building that structure out of your organizations, which I love. Tony, you've been at this for a long time. What advice would you give to a candidate that's looking at franchising? What don't they know? What should they be thinking about?
Franchising is an interesting model. When I started Kona, I looked at licensing, franchising, or just being just selling the product. And I went all the way through all of them, and I talked to a lot of consultants, and I talked to a lot of people in the industries, and the overwhelming advice was license it. And I thought it's really hard to maintain a brand if you license it. And the dream for me was to be able to create something so special and so unique that the franchising world had never seen it before. To where our conventions, and I've got, vendors and bankers and investors that come to our Kona convention and say, and they've been to they've been to the big boys of the world. And they said, we've never seen anything like it. Eric Stites shows up. I said, you got to come down and see it. And he said, he thought, I'm going to say this, he thought we were paying the franchisees to give these great reviews. And I was like, no, Eric, we have something special. And he flew down, and we're standing in the back of the room, and there's 1,000 people and it's like a very charismatic church event going on because we're having a great time. And he looks at me and he says, I get it now. This is a cult. And I was like, it is a cult. Not all cults are bad. They get a bad rap.
That's right.
But this is something unique that we're building, and it's something that exciting and moving on. So when I say who is the perfect candidate, we are so diverse in our franchisee body, and I'm so proud of that. I didn't start out to make it diverse. I just was open to people that are family and community minded, and people that really want to take the brand and make the community a better place. And as corny as that sounds, and I ask people that all the time, can you take this brand into your community and make it a better place by providing, give backs and fundraisers and joy and happiness and everything else? Can you do that? And that's what's really, proliferated the growth. And Tom's is the exact same way. There's no moment where you see a Tom's truck that you don't get a little smile on your face, because there is the solution to everything that I've got. If I'm tired, there's a pick me up. If I'm thirsty, there's a quench. All these different things. So it's fun because our product, our business model is not brick and mortar where you drive by it every day and you just kind of look in and wonder. Ours is a surprise and delight. You show up at the Little League, you show up at this, or you show up here, and a surprise and a delight, the truck shows up. So you never know when you're going to get it. You never know when you're going to get it again. So you're going to have to try it when you do see it. And most food trucks, which I find hysterical, they find their validity in going brick and mortar. Everyone says, "Oh, I was a grilled cheese food truck, and then finally I got my own brick and mortar." And you're like, no, I think you failed. I think doing what you do and do it well, be the best at what you're doing. And that's why we've decided to be in mobile. We are going to be the best in mobile that anybody has ever seen. And we're going to do it through a multitude of brands with a multitude of support and everything else. And it's going to get done. So who am I after? Who am I interested in? People that have that kind of passion and that kind of desire to take a business, take a brand, take it into the community, and make it just a little bit better place.
Yeah, I love it. Emma, I want to have you wrap up because you're being groomed into this, but you took a big change from what you were doing before this. What would you say to anybody that's looking to make a total change to what they're doing in their lives? Any advice that you have for them, or any words of recommendations as they look at becoming a business owner?
Yeah, I think it's just, especially if it's with family, I think it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it just really is to be able to work along my dad. He really is just my best friend. Like, I love working with him. And it was fun too. So when I first started, we went up for Kona College, one of the things that corporate offers. And I went with dad and my stepmom and Charlie, our daughter, even went. I think she was only like 3 months old at the time, and she did get her Kona College certificate when she was there at 3 months. And so I went up with them, and I remember seeing like Tony and like all of his kids, and just how it all, like from corporate down, is all just family, and like they make you feel like family just by themselves. And then being in it with family was just it was just even better. But even just from a management point, training under a franchisee, I just feel like there's so much to offer, and I don't think Kona and Tom's are going anywhere. And so I just think it's just going to get bigger and better, and they just continue to offer more products, and just they keep me surprised. So I know they keep the customers surprised when we go places as well with just new stuff.
That's great. Well, I feel the energy. I appreciate you all taking the time to talk with us today. I can't wait to find one of your trucks. We have Kona here. I don't think you're in our area yet with the coffee truck. But I look forward to trying your product. Thank you guys
Call
all.
me after this. Call me after this. I'll hook you up.
Okay, you're gonna have a truck drive up here?
No, I will
Or
sell you.
are you gonna try and sell me on a truck?
Sell you a franchise.
Thank you all so much. This was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Michelle.
You-
Thanks.